Welcome back to another episode of Tusk and Tradition. Been a little bit of a longer break period between my last video. I was on vacation last week. While I was busy, Alabama basketball is also really busy. They're racking up the wins. Last time we got to talk, we talked about the thrilling Texas A&M victory, and now we have, 5 wins straight from then. We played Texas A&M, then we played a great game at Auburn in the Jungle, and then blowout win at Ole Miss. Another blowout win at home South Carolina, and then we played another thrilling game versus Arkansas, and then just this past weekend another blowout win for LSU. So we're gonna kind of dive into those games. A few of those games have similar tones to the games. You can take the Ole Miss South Carolina LSU game, and besides the first half of the Ole Miss game, those games all kind of went the same. We kind of outclassed them, outshot the ball better than them. Really, how it came down to. The only exception of all three of those pool of games would be the first half of the Ole Miss game. I mean, I thought we were on upset alert. We couldn't hit anything at that time that we were unranked, so would it really be an upset? Last week, we jumped back into the polls at 25. Of course, after a thrilling double overtime win versus a shorthanded Arkansas team, and then capping off the weekend with a win at LSU, we jumped even further into those high teens. I think 17 this week in the new polls. So definitely trending in the right direction this time of year. We're getting closer to March. We're getting closer to the SEC tournament and the big dance. So exactly what you want to see. I feel like the last video we made, I was kind of here saying, are we ups and down right now? Are we riding the waves of Alabama basketball? But it looks like they've really, taken advantage of some weaker SEC teams. But in the midst of that, winning at Auburn is not easy to do. It's the first time we've won at Auburn in back-to-back years, back-to-back games, back-to-back years since 2010 and 11. So anytime you do that, it's a great feat. So we're playing good basketball. I'll break down that Auburn game was kind of one of those games where, would our talent be able to outclass the down year they're having, and the overcoming the Jungle. That's arena is so small. It feels like the fans are right on you. It's kind of like Duke Stadium at Cameron Indoor, where they're just the fans almost feel like they're playing. They're the true 6-man. They're right on top of you. It's loud. So anytime you go in there and can win the game, it's really impressive. I thought we controlled the game too. It was one of those games where I kind of thought, hey, get me within 5 with 5 minutes to go. That's kind of what I thought the game was going to go like. But, it was one of those games we went back and forth. And at the end, I think the better team won. You don't always see that in college basketball. So that was a really impressive win. And then kind of mentioned those games like Ole Miss and South Carolina and LSU all kind of went the same kind of way. Ole Miss or LSU, I think, put up a little bit better fight. I never felt the game was in doubt. Never felt like we were going to any type of question that we were going to win that game. I think it ended up being 90-83. So on that, looks kind of close. It didn't feel close. We beat them pretty handily at their stadium. Arkansas game, kind of. I know I'm jumping all around here. Arkansas game, almost a must win because they had 7 scholarship players. We're at home. We just jumped back into the rankings. It felt like a game we had to have. In that game, one of their guys, I believe his name, Acorn, last name, I don't know, I'm butchering it. I'm not going to say it. It's not Acorn, something like that. A-Cuff, A-something. And I feel bad because he destroyed us. He killed us. So I should know his name. That's on me. He scored 50 points, 51 points, something like that. We couldn't stop him. He outshined, Philon. Philon had 35, I think. So still an impressive night. But when someone on the other side scores 50-plus or whatever it was, he kind of steals the highlights of the show. He had a chance to win it, I think, in I want to say both. No, just the first overtime. He had a chance to win it, and he missed it. Thank goodness. I think he had a chance to win in both. I think he put a 3 up in second overtime, missed it, and they missed the putback. So he had a chance to cap off this historic great night for him, and he missed both. But hats off to him. He played great. He really controlled the game for them, kept them in the game because they fouled out. Oh, there we go. Camera's acting up on me. There we go. Oh, it's backing up a little bit more. We're going to roll through it. Fouled out 3+ times on their side of the bench, and so that never is good for them as I try to work through this camera. If not, I'm just going to keep going. That's kind of going back to why I think we had to win this game, because they fouled out 3 players and were playing with 4 scholarship players, and then at one point they fouled out again in overtime, and they had 2 scholarship players on the court. So they had 2 non-scholarship players on the court. So that's never going to be good, especially when you're playing on a away team, a team that the roster Alabama has. Man, I wish I wasn't stuck on that face. We're going to keep rolling with, oh, there we go, we're back after 20 seconds of me having that horrible face on camera. We're going to figure this camera thing out. It's been a few videos in a row. But, they fouled out a bunch, and so at this point, it's in overtime. They got two walk-on players on the court. I feel like we just had to win this one. It would have been a really tough pill to swallow if that game had gone Arkansas's way. A lot of people say game of the year, game whatever. I would think it's not the game of the year if we lost. We won, so I'm saying game of the year. I mean, that's kind of how that game felt. But yeah, great job by their point guard scoring 50+. Hats off. Tip your cap whenever you can to someone like that. That was a big-time win. And then you combine that with the LSU win we had this weekend, it's going to jump you in the polls. So that's kind of where we are in basketball. We're second right now in the SEC as far as standings go. Hopefully we can hold on to that. Got a really brutal stretch coming up. Our next games are going to be, I believe, home in Mississippi State and then at Tennessee, which we already played them once this year, and we had them home. We lost. And then we'll play one more game. Let's see. I got the schedule pulled up right here. We got one more game before Auburn. It will be Georgia, which they had a hot start. They've kind of cooled down to SEC play. But it's at Georgia. Like I said, it's hard to go win the road in the SEC. And then IBOB, Iron Bowl of basketball to finish the year at home this time. So that'll be good. So, a challenging end to the season. That's kind of what you want. You want to be challenged right now going into March. You want it to be games that are going to feel like tournament games. So I'm all for it. Bring it on. If we don't hold on to that second seed, big deal. I want to hold on to a top 4, get a double bye in the tournament. But as long as we can do something like that, we'll be good. So basketball's in a good shape right now. Really impressive where the season, kind of felt like it was going just 2 weeks ago to where we are now. Charles Bediako saga looks like it's come to a close after he was initially denied, after he got the injunction to play for 10 days, and then 10 days again when we had the little bit of snow going on. He was denied then. He put an appeal in. The appeal was denied. It looks like he's not playing. From the beginning with that, if you've watched the videos, I've had a hard time with it, how I felt. I didn't feel great about it. I don't think it's great for college sports. I'm okay with the injunction. Honestly, I think we've been playing better since this whole denial has happened. So let's keep the momentum going. He is on the team. He is starting, getting cared by our staff. So we're doing the best thing for him as his player development as we can, besides playing, obviously. But we're doing all we can. He's going to be on scholarship, so he can finish his degree, all that. So everything, besides him playing, is going to work out for him. Hopefully, he can get back to the next level and be a contributor to some team in the pros. So that's kind of basketball is really good. Baseball started up, had a first game of the year, lost to Washington State in a pretty bad opening game, couldn't really hit. Seen some struggling with hitting the ball. We had a 3-2 game at Sanford. You'd like to see us win some of those games. And then we played our Rhode Island series this past weekend, and really finally the bats warmed up. Justin LeBron's doing his thing. I think he's one of one in the picks coming up. I think he'll be the first overall. I mean, I'm insanely biased, but I think he should be the first overall pick. He's really balling out. Hopefully it can keep trending in the right direction, the baseball team, as this camera glitches out again. Hopefully they're not like my camera and are unreliable. But like I said, I'm going to keep going through it. Baseball's a hot start to the year. Softball, even hotter start. They knocked off number 7 Florida State twice and won the Tallahassee little tournament we were in. Undefeated right now. I think we're 10-0, 11-0, something like that. Won the whole Georgia Tech tournament thing we're in. Just playing really good softball. Softball's a new sport for me, honestly. Something I've always watched, like a little bit of softball. It's been relatively good, but this is like the first year I've really, kept up with the scores, see what's going on, watch some games, watch some highlights. So it's been really fun. I'm a big baseball guy. Love the Atlanta Braves, so it's not too terribly different. So I've really enjoyed it. This become more of just a straight podcast and video feed at this point with them. So that's been good. Alabama sports right now are all kind of doing really well. Would have loved to have seen the baseball not have an ugly first start to the game and be undefeated right now, but it is what it is, and they're going to continue to play good baseball, hopefully. This is, people have been saying this is Rob Vaughn's best team he's had at Alabama, which would be great because he's had some good seasons so far. So maybe we can keep adding to that. I'm just kind of mesmerized by what the camera's doing. It's like I don't know what's going to do next. Like it's almost like it's throwing like graphics up that like causing me to move around or just freeze. Looks like we're back. I don't know what's going on with it, but we'll figure that out later. But yeah, that kind of brings us to the point where we are now. They released Alabama's football schedule next year. Never too early to start talking about that. Got a favorable first 5 games. Whenever you're starting a new quarterback, it's always nice to have a kinder first 5 games. And other news for football in the way future, I think it's 2028, we had originally scheduled 3 out-of-conference games, and we just picked up a 4th with Georgia State, which is not allowed because you got to play, they added the SEC game, so we can't play 4 non-conference games. Don't even mind the camera at this point, just keep talking. We can't play 4 non-conference games, and so that's going to mean we have to drop one of them. One of the non-conference games is going to be Ohio State. You do the math. The committee's made it really apparent that they don't care what games you play as long as you win. I know it sounds lame to not to, duck out of playing Ohio State, but I don't know why we wouldn't. Nothing official has happened, but why would we not drop that game? The whole system is so poorly ran, poorly constructed, whatever, that as a fan, I don't even care to watch a great game versus Ohio State. I'd rather just not play it, so we have a better chance of playing a meaningful game. Maybe playing Ohio State later, where it actually means something, not in the first game of the year at one of our stadiums where whoever loses, they lose one more game, they might be out of the tournament. So it's just kind of like, if it was better ran and we had, the schedules were more looked upon, then I would be more for it. But like last year with the whole Miami Notre Dame situation, yeah, they got it right, but it took till the 11:59 before midnight to get it right. And so it's just kind of like, what are we doing here? So it's just that. It's kind of, I don't trust them to make the right decision. I don't trust them to value the right things. They've lost all of them. I think they've really never got, maybe once when it was a 14 playoffs, they got the actual field correctly, the team that should be in. Besides that, I don't think they've ever actually got it right. So it's frustrating as a fan because I do want to watch Alabama play Ohio State, but also as a fan, I want to protect this horrible system that we're in. If we have to play by the rules of their game, let's play by the rules of their game. Let's drop Ohio State. Let's play Georgia State like we are. More will come on that soon, and we'll figure out what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up before my camera. I don't even know what's going to do at this point, but yeah, that's kind of what's going on with Alabama sports. A lot of news, a lot of updates, a lot of stories ending with Charles Bediako, and now maybe stories ending with playing Ohio State non-conference schedule. So we'll just see with the Ohio State game, and we'll see with the basketball team as they continue to march on towards March, no pun intended, and as I'll keep revving up and play more games. So that's going to wrap it up for Tusk and Christians. I'll see you guys later.